Is it a greasy spoon, or is it a boutique cafe with a steampunk vibe?
I don't think Roy's very steampunk.
Oh, and are they trains, by the way? I've not got to be contacts in.
Yeah, they're trains.
Roy likes trains.
Oh, and I like Eccles cakes. Me and this Roy could get on famously. So, what can I do you for?
Well, thanks for meeting us face to face.
Oh, it's all right. I know you had a few issues with Malcolm. And anyway, I was round the corner doing a viewing on a nice little flat in Tile Street, yeah. I think everyone's trying to sell up round here, aren't they? After the old singholes.
The talk of the street.
Talk of the street.
The talk of the street.
Talk of the street.
The talk of the street.
Talk of the street.
The talk of the street.
Talk of the street.
Hello and welcome to episode 200 of The Talk of the Street, an unofficial Coronation Street catch-up podcast that, in amongst the confusion over braziers, Grace coming and going with no real purpose, John laughing at things that don't warrant being laughed at, must have missed the bit where Todd and Billy started talking to each other again. I'm Gavin.
And I'm back, bitches.
Were you away?
Yes. Remember I was leaving you last week.
Oh, that's right.
And now I've returned. I've come back to you.
Blink and
Are
you
you
miss
happy?
it. Blink and you miss it.
Are you happy I came back to you?
Sure. Yes. It was a very quiet house. I don't think I've ever been... I've been in a house without you for a long period of time.
Uh-huh.
But I don't think I've been in a house with nobody for that length of time.
Yeah, it's been a while.
That was a long time.
Yeah.
Eating over the sink and not washing.
Forgetting to feed the cats or give them water.
No, I did that. I did that plenty of times. How was your trip?
It was nice. You know, it started weird because I had this whole plan to drive up through the UP and then
This still baffles me how you're able to do this.
well, we were still technically at Lansing when I figured it out, but the kids were just like, we're already going south. We might as well.
Well, if you're still in Lansing, then you barely moved.
Well, no, because it took us like onto 127 South and then onto 496 and then, you know, almost onto, and then onto.
Enjoy Helen naming roads.
So instead of going through the UP on our way there.
The UP is the Upper Peninsula of Michigan. I was conscious that we didn't explain that
Yes,
last week for nobody who cares.
Michigan has two parts, thanks to Michigan and Ohio going to war with each other.
Let's keep it contemporary. You're heading south.
Yeah. So instead of going north, we went south and went through Indiana and Illinois. To get to
Chicagoland.
Wisconsin. Yes.
Did you go through Chicagoland?
Yeah, but it was like the outer part of Chicago, so we weren't like really with the tall buildings and stuff. And
Busy and tolls though, right?
yeah.
Yeah, you don't want to do that.
No. No, I haven't paid them yet. I need to go online because it's all automatic now, where they just take pictures of your license plates as you drive through. And then we got to the place and then discovered that
was shut.
No.
Oh, well, that was the other vacation that we went on. That was Six Flags and
over Texas that opened. That opening day was the day.
It was National Lampoon's Vacation, but for reals.
It was. And
John Candy's just lucky he was dead. Otherwise, I was kidnapping him.
But anyway, we discovered that the water park was open, but the slides are closed during the week.
Oh no!
Yes.
Didn't tell me that.
Which only really kind of disappointed Stelly because Betty and I were not going down any water slides.
No.
That was never going to happen. I mean, Betty has been down water slides, but you know, he's like, I'm fine. And then the first day that we actually went to the water park part, it was so packed. We were just like, the kids were like, no. So we went to a winter park in the area, and I sat in the lodge, and the kids went tubing for 3 hours straight, which was absolute bliss.
There you go.
And then we went back and went to the water park, and it was fine because there were fewer people there because people were at dinner. And they opened up the water slides after all.
Oh, well.
Because they had enough lifeguards. They were very understaffed in other areas. There's this poor woman who was trying to run the coffee shop and the front desk at the same time.
And rescue drowning children. You have to wait in your frappuccino.
Yeah. So that was day one. And also the kids and I went to see The Lost City because we were too early to check in.
Right.
And it was delightful.
That was a very good movie.
Yes.
I enjoyed it immensely.
And then the next day we did basically the same thing where we did something in the morning and then just sat in the water park in the afternoon and evening. We went bowling and that was fun. There were people in the bowling alley when we walked in. We walked in at like 9:30, 10 o'clock in the morning, and there were already people sitting around the bar drinking beers.
Yeah, sure.
On a Tuesday morning.
Welcome to Wisconsin. So a good time was had by all in summary then.
Yeah. Yeah, it was fun.
Good.
Yeah.
200 episodes.
This is our
Do you
200.
remember doing episode 100?
We were drunk.
We got drunk. Yeah.
We don't do that anymore.
No. Well, I was going to say we didn't get drunk. We had some mimosa,
And then we had some more mimosa.
but I definitely had a buzz on by the time we were
Champagne
finished.
does that.
It was-
Champagne goes straight to your head very quickly.
yeah, good times.
Good times.
Oh well, we're sober this time.
Yeah, we're sober
Oh,
and drinking coffee. And you have a sore head.
Yeah, I haven't been feeling that great. I think it's just the psychosomatic of being
Lonely.
lonely and
Well, we were
purposely
having a-
starving pets, which I wasn't doing.
Good time bowling and eating cheese.
Yeah,
Yeah.
excellent. Shall we preamble, my dear?
Yes, please.
Give us some of that anniversary Corrie news.
We've seen her ice skating skills, and her shade game is always fire. But have you ever heard Lisa George sing?
I have not.
Ah, well, you'll get your chance this weekend as our Beth performs on ITV's All-Star Musicals,
It's just how cheap can we make TV over the weekend, Phil, isn't it?
where she's dressing up to sing songs from Cabaret.
Of course. That'll fill an hour.
She's got this short flapper wig on and like a kimono. We may not have seen him since January, but it appears The Undertaker isn't going anywhere. At least not until July of 2023.
Yep.
As Tony Maudsley has signed on to play George Shuttleworth for another year. So huzzah!
That's
More
good news.
Undertaker jokes.
Yeah.
We're good at those.
Well, we do them. It's it's good because these rolling yearly contracts mean that I guess it makes sense, really, doesn't it? Because nobody's stay on the show is permanent,
Well,
within a couple of notable exceptions. But if they're going to come up with a storyline where the Undertaker's going to die, then there's no point giving them a 12-month contract, I guess.
Eileen smashes him one
Right.
last time into the grave.
That's good. We like the Undertaker.
We do. We do. He is delightful.
Good comedy value.
And finally,
And we need good comedy value.
yes, we do. We desperately do. So much. And finally, speaking of people who don't need a yearly contract because they're not going anywhere, especially at this point, as Bill Roach reaches his 9th decade this month, ITV will celebrate with a documentary called Happy Birthday, Bill.
10th decade.
You know what I mean.
Yeah, you mean 10th.
Anyway,
He becomes 90.
which will celebrate the freshly minted nonagenarian with family, friends, and cast members past and present. Arcan reaches the big 9-0 on April 25th.
Wow.
And that's Corrie News.
90 years old.
90 years old.
Oof. Do you know, for a while,
And still working.
right, I think
It's like getting up to Betty White status here.
I think he's a good 90. He's a good 90. I mean, even particularly before COVID, when he was just like late 80s. Yeah, man's looking good for his age. He's looking a little tired,
He does.
but fucking hell, so do I.
And well, you're hitting the big 5-0 next year.
Yep.
So,
Well, a bit of luck.
wow.
I'm Scottish.
Wow.
Don't
Wow.
plan on starting any new books after
I know.
I'm 50.
I know Scottish men who are older than 50. I know them because my daughter has a crush on them.
Uncle Sammy? Yikes. And now we'll podcast for coffee.
And that's Corrie News.
You already said that.
Did I?
Yes.
Oh.
So on the ball. You sugar in the trunk? we were able to donate $140 to Sunflower of Peace thanks to our March charity drive.
Waha! Wahey.
Charity that is providing humanitarian aid and medical supplies to those who need it in Ukraine and the ongoing situation. So that came to an end at the end of March. So April's coffees go to our coffees. So we're drinking our... Oh, was that humph?
No, it was a
That sounded like a humph.
humph. Who could we give money to in April? Ourselves.
Let's line our own pockets.
It's National Poetry Month. We're owed.
There you go. So yeah, if you want to buy us next week's coffees, you can go to ko-fi.com, that's ko-fi.com/the talk of the street, and we'll be very appreciative, won't we, Helen?
Yes, what are you drinking your coffee out of?
My Aviato mug.
Yes.
And you're drinking yours out of your Eleanor Roosevelt one. Oh
No, it's the soothing one from Pam. One of the Pam mugs.
There we go. 200 episodes of this shit. And now, it's new tubes.
I have a bone to pick with Mersey Tart. He always takes your side on everything, and I think he does it on purpose. Not because
Oh, you saw that?
It's true, but just to get a rise out of me.
Well, I don't
And
know
it's
that
not
if
gonna
he's...
work.
I don't know if he's... well,
It's not going to work, Scott. It's not going to work.
clearly it's not working. But that was a dig at me. Because it was saying that Tim's mum about the house team was shit. So either way, I don't win out of this. So if that's him taking my side, maybe you should take your side every now and again. But yeah. But see,
But that's not the first time, because there was something else a couple months ago that you and I disagreed on, and he took your side. So
But he's the same age as me-ish.
right.
We probably had a very similar childhood.
Yes. He has more hair than you.
Watching film, whatever the year is, and hearing that music every week probably means a little bit more to him than it does to you. Yes? Yes.
I suppose.
Anyway, here's me being all reasonable and stuff. So this is a section where we talk about what's new on our YouTube channel. So we've got the regular stuff, we've got last week's podcast, we've got my 3 favourite clips from this week's episodes. This week's episode's condensed to under 4 minutes, which has proven to be quite a popular section.
Yes.
You can do it.
You can do it.
It's come close a few times. It's come very close to the 4 minutes.
And
but
it takes a lot of time.
it takes about an hour.
Yeah. Which means it's a good thing that you were all by yourself this week. With nothing better to do.
Well, it filled an hour. And in addition to that, we've got Edna Hargreaves' turn on Corrie life stories. This was a woman who was only ever seen in 2 scenes. One scene where she was alive at the hairdresser's and flirting with David, and then one scene where she was dead. If that tickles your fancy, head over to youtube.com/the Talk of the Street podcast, smash that subscribe button, and sell the spleen on the dark web of that notification bell. And now, this.
Welcome.
Well, welcome to Last Year Tonight with me, John Oliver. Just enough time to quickly talk about awesome customer service.
Awesome customer service. Who on earth on the street gives awesome customer service? Roy? What are you doing with your nose? Is that a clue?
No. I don't think so. If it is, it's subliminal, even to me. That's right, this was the start of the Nina-Seb relationship when Nina was blocking the road. Remember, she was making a protest and Seb was complaining about that because he couldn't get his van through, and Nina suggested that the police might arrest her for her awesome customer service. I was Gavin, and you officially had 5G.
Oh, yeah, because I had gotten vaccinated.
Yep.
Finally.
This was our induction into House Moderna. Your Gale mask apparently drew some compliments from the people who were
Yes, it did.
vaccinating us.
Yes, it did.
This was the debut week of our new music, both intro and outro. That was a year ago.
Oh, our techno Talk of the Street.
Yes, that made you think that you were in a German nightclub.
Yes. Or a Sprockets skit on Saturday Night Live in the 1990s. The 1990s.
That's better. It was my 6-month dry anniversary, which means that it's my 18th month dry anniversary. Ooh. His long game plan scuppered, Todd eases back into his running away boots and gets ready to hightail it to Bromsgrove, where he claims to have a friend and a job waiting. Yeah, right. Michael learns that his dad may not be his dad might be his uncle, and his uncle might be his dad. Leanne can't let Nick move back into his own flat, so Simon tells him that Harvey is her new boyfriend.
Did we ever find out what happened to Harvey?
He went back to jail. They didn't kill him.
That was really weird, though, wasn't it?
Because remember, he was rescued by Curtis, who wasn't a doctor.
Right. But he did smash his head into a windshield and looked unconscious.
Yeah,
so you'd think he'd
going
had
like 10
some
miles an hour.
brain trauma there.
God, Abby was knocked unconscious by driving into a skip.
Right. And Adam has been knocked unconscious by getting a...
Numerous times. Barely a week goes by without Adam being knocked unconscious. Do you know what his
It's
nickname
amazing he can stand up straight anymore.
Unconscious Adam. That's what they call him.
The CRT man on the street. Anyway.
Yeah. Yeah, so Harvey was fine. The wheels of bureaucracy have never moved so swiftly as social services confirm that Kelly can move in with Imran and Toyah, except when they moved in swiftly when she moved in with Gary and Maria, because I don't think they were even involved in that.
No. Yeah, I don't think social services was involved in that
They
at all.
don't care anymore. They've tried 3 times to put her in.
They're like, fuck
So-
it,
right.
whatever.
That's right. There was a scene missing where the social services just said, fuck
it.
Fuck it. Just fuck it. Nina becomes closer to Seb, which forces Asha back into the grubby arms of ITV Corrie. Jailbirds Sally and Abby take Faye out for a meal and prep her for a year-long residency at Her Majesty's Pool Hall for Women. Fizz and Tyrone find that loving each other and wanting something to work sometimes isn't enough. The Undertaker doesn't have a close sign. Craig Sweater wants to know why. Maria forgets her own backstory, and Chesney collects children. Our moment of the week was Imran and Toyah fostering Kelly, and a boring moment of the week was Billy and Todd opening a bottle of wine. And that was Coronation Street and the Talk of the Street, this time last year.
So much to talk about this week.
We do? Oh, we do, yeah.
Me.
Let's start doing that then, shall we?
Yes, please.
Our first storyline this morning is Gary's creamy chicken soup.
You're just going to stick with that, are you?
It creates an image, doesn't it? Because there's bits floating in it. And what are those bits?
No,
Well, they're
no,
bits of chicken.
No,
They're bits
no,
of chicken.
No, please stop.
They're bits of chicken.
Please stop, because I finally watched Des last night, so
Des?
please stop.
With David. Is it David Tennant?
It is David Tennant, yes.
Oh, he's remarkable in that.
He's very good in that.
Oh, isn't he good in Des?
He's very good, especially since I watched the documentary afterwards, and
Yeah.
he really captured that
Oofed.
very creepy man.
Yeah.
Oof.
They reckon he was Bible John, I think, now. Solving that, or trying to solve that mystery. The murders from the Barrowlands in Glasgow.
Yeah, because there's still like 6 people that they have parts for that have never been identified.
Yeah.
And that's just
Oh.
ridiculous.
Oh, it was good.
Yes.
Shall
Anyway.
we talk about this? No, let's talk about Gary's creamy chicken soup. On Monday, in the morning, Marie and Gary can't work out what Laura's playing at. Kelly gets up even more confused. Gary makes plans to head to the station to see what's going on, and Kelly, still in her jammies, insists that she's coming too.
In her jammies. Not in her jammies.
Laura is getting interviewed by DS, the same woman as last time.
It's DS.
It's DS Beckett.
Yes, DS Beckett is back, bitches. Just like me.
Fresh from not solving the roof mystery.
Right, yeah. At least they have this consistency here, though, because she was the one assigned to the case of the disappearance of Rick the Chin. So at least there's some consistency here.
Right.
They didn't flop it onto one of the newer DSs, like
DS
DS
Fringe,
Fringe
yeah.
or DS McDreamy.
Beardy Dreamy. I think it's his full name. Anyway, something doesn't add up for DS Beckett, and she reckons that Gary Windass still has something to do with this, and she wonders why Laura is taking the blame. Not thinking, I guess, about Laura's mortality.
Right.
At the station, the desk sergeant refuses to give any information about Laura to Kelly and Gary, and he tells them to go home. Gary reckons this means that they haven't charged her yet, so the best idea for them is just to go home and wait. And
Yes.
maybe a phone call to the station next time will suffice. Laura maintains...
This meeting could have been an email.
Right. Indeed. This scene didn't need to exist. Laura maintains her position and explains to DS Beckett what really happened, but places herself in Gary's place.
Right, yeah, because she goes on and on about him being, digging the grave and the woods and everything.
Yeah, which I don't remember Gary telling her about.
It must have been off screen in the same scene where Todd and Billy make up.
Yeah. What an awful lot happened in that scene. D.S. Beckett slams her hands on the table. I don't believe you, she screams. Why are you covering for Gary? Back home, Kelly is pissed that their wee trip didn't achieve anything, so decides to go through Laura's stuff to prove that her dad is still alive. Gary clutches his collar while Maria frets in the background. Gary half-heartedly helps while Kelly comes across some PI details, but before Kelly can go down that rabbit hole, she gets an alert on her phone from the Weather Gazette announcing that a body has been found at the old brickworks. Kelly realises that this has something to do with her dad. And sure enough, Laura must have given the details, again, in a scene that we don't get to see.
No.
There was a brief scene where Beckett looks like she's leaving, and
Right.
Laura starts to cry, so Beckett doesn't leave. But then we don't know what happens.
Yeah, we see it's very manipulative. Because, before we saw Laura very cocky and very, talking back to D.S. Beckett and very smart and everything. And
Yep.
then we see the scene where D.S. Beckett opens the door and Laura's crying and D.S. Beckett shuts the door again and then we see her go. So I think we're meant to take that kind of as a red herring that maybe she's told the truth after all, and is Gary going to get caught after all?
Oh, really?
Has D.S. Beckett broken Laura?
Oh, I
Because
never
there's
once
such a
thought that.
change of attitude there.
So yeah, Laura must have given the details because next we see D.S. Beckett and some men in white suits are at the crime scene doing forensic stuff with test tubes and Bunsen burners. Back at the flat, Kelly
They have
has
that
asked
big canvas tent over the body.
Kelly has asked Gary if he could kill someone, and Gary mumbles that maybe he could if his family were in danger and he'd fallen behind in repayments to a dodgy loan shark until Maria slaps the back of his head. Shut it. Prisons are full of people who are having good days 5 minutes before they committed a crime, says Gary. And Kelly, unhappy with these answers, storms off.
And you'd think Kelly would know that, considering
She's been in jail.
right for a bad day.
Yep. I don't know if this is a entirely original thought that Gary's expressing here, but I really like that prisons full of people who were having perfectly good days 5 minutes before they did what they did.
Right. Yeah. And that's true because
That's true.
that not everybody is a premeditated killer
Right.
or even a premeditated
Shoplifter.
bank robber.
Back at the station, that's probably why they get caught.
Right.
Maybe a wee bit of premeditation would be a good idea.
Right. Exactly.
Back at the station, D.S. Beckett interviews Laura again. Tell you, says Laura. Oofed, says D.S. Beckett. And later, Maria notices that the thingy movie starring what's-his-name is on telly tonight. She's quite excited about that. Then she tells Gary to get his shit together before he blows the game. Then the buzzer goes. It's the police. Kelly comes home and the copper tells her that Rick's body has been recovered and Laura's been charged. Case closed. To make Kelly's day better, it seems that Laura's taken a turn and is now in hospital. Shit just got super real for Kelly, who still can't believe that her mum is capable of murder. Maria suggests chips, but Kelly wants to speak with her mum.
And the movie with what's his name from that thingy.
I mentioned that.
Yeah.
So at the hospital, Kelly wants to know why. Tearfully, Laura says it was either Rick or her. She didn't mean to kill him, and she's sorry. It was an accident. Kelly wonders why now, and Laura plays the terminally ill card one more time. Kelly deserved to know the truth before Laura dies. Rick isn't coming back. Laura tells Kelly that she loves her, and she'll be well looked after by Gary and Maria, and Kelly storms out again without saying I love you back, leaving Gary to question why Laura is doing this. Laura suggests that he takes this opportunity and put an end to all his dodgy dealings. Be a better person, she says.
Which is funny because he'd already put it into his dodgy dealings a year ago.
Yeah, be a better person, she says, which is a bit rich coming from her.
No.
I'm trying, says a tearful Gary. And back home, Kelly seems to settle back into life with Gary, Maria and Liam, choosing to watch Gary's suggestion of that thingy movie starring what's-his-name. Liam asks if Kelly is okay. She says that she will be. Oof, it's a big day. On Wednesday at the Rose Gold flat, Gary is still in turmoil about Laura's plans to plead guilty. He wants Kelly to go see Laura in hospital, but Maria says, yeah, good luck with that. So Gary sees Kelly come out on Nina's rolls and tells her to go see her mum and forgive her because she's dying. Good, says Kelly. I hope she dies. She killed my dad. And Gary worries that Kelly is going to regret this, and all of this is seen and overheard by Sarah.
And Kelly, very reasonably, first person on the street to do so, has brought her own mug with a lid to Nina's rolls to get her coffee
Oh, did she?
filled. So, was it empty or was it not?
Oh.
They should do this more often because it makes it... it would make sense that, Nina would probably give people a discount if they brought their own travel mugs to get refills
Oh, I
and
didn't
stuff.
even notice that. So Gary goes alone to see Laura ahead of her going to court to make her plea. Again, another scene that we don't get to see. He wants to help her, but she doesn't want anything from him. She understands Kelly won't forgive her, but the most important thing is that she has people to care for her after she dies, even if Kelly does hate her. She will die a happy woman, says Laura, who is now just made of vulturism. Gary gets back from the hospital and sees Kelly, and once again tries to guilt her into going to see her mum, and once again she has none of it. I know that Gary's going through this kind of internal conflict of
Right.
doing the right thing or just letting this happen,
Right.
but he should be doing his best to keep Kelly and his mum away from each other, because
Well,
he's running the risk of Laura breaking and telling Kelly what really happened.
if
The less that they speak, the better.
if Laura dies without reconciliation with Kelly, Gary's guilt is just going to be unimaginable, especially if she ever does find out the truth and she doesn't have a chance to reconcile with her mother because she's dead.
So anyway, once again, Kelly has none of it, and Sarah sees this moment too, and this time confronts Gary. Poor Kelly thinks her mum killed her dad, but we both know it was you what done it, says Sarah, reminding Gary that she knows about this whole mess. Does she know about Rana as well? Does anybody know about Rana?
I don't think anybody knows about Rana. But fuck Sarah for sticking her nose back in this.
Oh no, good for her.
No, fuck her.
Why?
Because it's not like she's never killed a man and hidden him under the floorboards. Just like Des. But
Yeah. How good was he in Des though?
God, he's so good. But it's just, she has her own messy relationship to kind of try to rebuild. She doesn't need to be sticking her nose into Gary's business. That relationship is long over.
Yeah, they're both married
They're
now.
both married to different
To
people.
different people.
Now. Better people for them, I would argue.
Sarah very nearly divorced her. I presume that she's withdrawn her filing there.
Yes, I would assume so. But still, it's like, why are we just going to drop Sarah back in here to be a nosy Nora and just, try to take the high road when we all know that she has killed and will kill again?
She won't kill again, I don't think. I don't think
Everyone
she
will kill again. It's in their blood now.
I think Maria wanted a divorce for a while as well, didn't
Yes, she did. Yes, she did.
God, it's like holding up a
And
mirror.
she's had a miscarriage, Maria, in the time since Sarah and Gary broke up.
And Sarah has been trying to get pregnant.
Yeah.
Oh, it is. It's like a mirror
It's like a mirror to what?
to each other.
Oh, okay.
What did you think I was talking about?
Your own life. And I was like, wait
Oh,
a second.
yes, it's
am
very
I
much.
am I Sarah or Maria in this case? And are you Gary or Adam?
Or is it even more complicated than that? I was feeling a little bit sick on Thursday.
That would make you
Thursday-
Laura, wouldn't it?
Thursday morning. Anyway. So Gary whisks Sarah to the furniture thing and explains that Laura is doing this of her own free will because she's got it in her head that Gary is the only person who can look after Kelly when she's gone, and if Gary confesses, he goes to jail, Laura still dies, and Kelly's left with nothing. Or Maria. This shit is fucked up right here, says Sarah.
Yeah.
Which is true.
It's true, but Sarah has enough fucked up shit in her own life. She doesn't need to be wading into Gary's fucked up shit anymore.
Gary gets home to the Rose Gold flat in tears, pacing, determined to put things right by coming clean. Oh no, you fucking don't, says Maria. I've been stuck in this house keeping shit together, and I'm not about to let you blow this for us all. This is what Laura wants, she says. And if you confess, this whole family is ruined, including Kelly.
Right.
Now wipe your snotty nose, man up, and be the best goddamn supervillain you can be. Maria is total badass.
Yes. Including your 2 biological children that never get mentioned anymore.
Right.
Which, that was really funny when Laura mentioned them and said she couldn't keep track of Gary's kids.
Right.
And I started laughing thinking, neither can Gary.
No, Gary's like, what's she talking about?
I have kids.
When did this happen? Izzy's not my kid.
Because it very much seems like he's more invested in the lives of Liam and Kelly than those two boys whose names I can't remember.
Jake
Right, which is Izzy's son.
and
Oh God,
Zach.
is it Zach?
Yes, because Pat Phelan kept on calling him Zachariah, remember?
Oh, that's right.
What did you think about this storyline this week?
I liked it quite a bit.
I did too.
I like Maria being a badass.
Oh, I'm loving that.
I love. Whoever thought that we would be the people to say, I love Maria now?
I've posted that I'm standing for her, for badass
Yeah.
Maria, and I'm only kind of joking about that.
Right.
Because this look works brilliantly for her.
It does. It works really, really well. I'm so glad
She
this has happened.
She is the calm godfather of this whole thing going on,
Right.
right? So the worst thing you can do is show panic. So she's like, she lets out a little bit, but she
Right.
gets on top of her nerves and her emotions here, and just, you need to
Calm the
this
fuck
shit down, right? It's brilliant.
All those lessons from Sally about how to be a politician really worked.
Really, really did.
It really, really did. You know, especially since so much is going on this week, and like you said, there's so much of the storyline that it feels important for us to see that we didn't get to see. I really could have done without those Sarah moments of Sarah seeing him across the street and then confronting him and stuff. It didn't feel necessary. I feel like Gary's guilt is already up here. He didn't need Sarah button in, and it feels like this is the only thing she came to the set for that week and was totally unnecessary.
I think the whole point of that is to remind us that she knows. I think it's there
Right,
as a
but
reminder.
that kind of implies that that's going to be important later on.
I
That
think it might
she's gonna blow the lid off of all of this, and she'd better not, because this is something Laura decided to do, and Sarah knows what happened to Rick the Chin, but she is not invested at all in the life of Kelly or Liam or Gary's other kids. You know, this is really something she needs to back away from, because Laura made a choice.
Right.
And I think respecting Laura's choice is the right thing to do here. You know, because she's making a choice for the benefit of her daughter. It would be nice for Kelly to know the truth before her mother dies. At least we know that Laura is really not faking.
Right. If she's faking, she's doing a fantastic job with
Right, yeah.
it. Much better than Curtis did. But I think it's important for the audience to know that this is not a secret that is self-contained within the Rose Gold flat.
Right.
That there is knowledge outside that after Laura dies is still going to exist. There's still going to be somebody
Right.
who knows Gary's secret. And that's, I think, important for us to remember, because at some points I was like, who knows about this again? Because it's been going on for so long
Right.
that it's not clear where this is kind of spread. So I liked it from that point of view, and I liked it because she got a chance to say, this is messed up.
Right. But
other than that,
again,
sure.
she shouldn't be passing judgment on what's messed up, because she's done some messed up things in her life as well.
Yeah, well, so's everybody.
I found it interesting that Sharon, not the other Sharon, got a name check this week. Kelly mentions Sharon.
Oh yeah, she wants to get in touch with her.
Right. Because that would be the other person who knows the truth.
Right. Yes. Very much so.
Yeah.
What about Gary's grief here at the situation? There was a moment last week where he almost felt relief.
About confessing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like he would
Finally be free of this.
right, and he's not getting to be.
No. Yeah.
And that feels like it's a bit of a conflict for him.
Right. Yeah. Mikey North is just killing it.
He really is. He really
He's
is.
just killing it. Mm-hmm. Bravo to him. See, this is what happens when you grow your hair out. You become a better actor. Not that he was bad before, but he's just chewing up the scenery.
And you mean that in a good way, because
Yes.
I always think that that's a bad thing to say about somebody.
He is the Meryl Streep of this show right now, you know, which is also not a bad thing, obviously.
Okay.
Meryl Streep,
You've been very strange with your compliments this morning.
most awarded actor in Oscars history. Meryl
No,
Streep.
his scenes with Laura in particular, where I think it was on Monday, where he says, this just isn't fair.
Right.
And but you believe it 100%.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, he's doing a great job. And he's doing a great job of having having that release and that maybe potential to actually properly repent for this and
Right.
and make your peace with this, or getting torn away from him. He's not getting that peace. He's not getting that
Right.
that release from it. It's still going to be trapped within him.
Right.
Because he's confessed that it hasn't helped.
Right,
It's,
yeah.
It's somebody else is getting the blame
And
for this.
it's the whole, accidental villain bit. The whole,
Yeah, we're done with supervillain. That's
right. Yeah, he
that's
was
not
never
been
going to
it's
be a
never gonna
supervillain.
thing.
And that's the brilliant thing, is he's done this horrible thing and yet shows so much more remorse than I think anybody has ever shown remorse for anything in this show ever. Just
Wow, that's a big statement.
yes. Mikey North just killing it. Killing it. Killing it. And
And
I don't
badass
just
material.
mean and I don't just mean Rick the Chin. when I say it.
All right then. We've got 6 other stories to get through this
Oh, okay.
morning. So let's move on to Tim's mum about the house. I do like the drums in that.
Me too.
Sorry, Scott.
And the whole fading away at the end.
Mm-hmm.
Even though you don't like songs that fade away.
Well, that's not fading out. That's just allowing to end. I'm not fading that out. That's just the note stops and it decays.
Sure.
I'm not stopping in the middle of a chorus there. I don't like those songs. That's just lazy. Anyway, Tim's mum about the house. On Monday, Sally has made Tim sausages and bananas and eggplant for breakfast. It's the most sexual innuendo breakfast ever.
Yeah, but it's low-fat vegan sausage.
They have a Zoom meeting coming up with a guy who knew Curtis was,
Faking it.
yep,
The best cardiologist on the street.
he saw through Curtis. Tim's mum comes in and is pessimistic about their chances and then fucks off to be a grey cloud in someone else's story that we don't get to see. So Tim and Sally have the meeting. Tim beats about the bush asking about taking part in sports, ball sports, maybe some water sports. And then Sally blurts out, "It's sex, can we have sex?" And the doctor seems embarrassed but confirms that they should be good to go. Tim throws the laptop out of the window. Ding dong, he announces, and then they go off to get their hole. But then Tim's mum comes in and puts the kibosh on it yet again.
Ugh.
Later, Sally's getting pissed off with her mum. With her mum?
With her mum-in-law.
Later, Sally's getting pissed off with Tim's mum. Sally wants her hole, but Tim's mum has decided to throw a tea party today for some reason. "If you want to go to Wonderland again, tell the Cheshire Cat to fuck off," says Sally. Then in comes Kathy looking to go at the cinema with Tim's mum. So Tim's mum's vocal cords practically burst when he shouts on her to come down and leave with Kathy.
Right.
Mum! Mum!
A mystery classical cinema where you go and you don't know what's going to show.
Yeah, that's a thing.
Is it?
Late nights and some places a cinema will just put on a mystery classic movie. You don't know what it is until you sit down.
That's interesting.
Yeah. Risky, I would say.
Well, yes, as we shall find out.
I don't know if
I
I've got
thought
the
it was-
specifics about it.
They do.
I don't know if I do.
Oh. See, I thought it was classic mystery movies.
Oh, no.
So I was very confused.
Yeah. You really need
was
to
like,
see the
ooh.
commas there, don't you?
Alfred Hitchcock.
With Tim's mum gone, Sally dresses up in her nurse's uniform. Tim is pleased, but I've seen enough nurses recently.
Right, yeah.
So asks Sally to be an estate agent again.
And doesn't want to get a boner the next time he's in the hospital.
He asks Sally to be an estate agent with a background in medicine. But once again, before they can get their hole, Tim's mum comes back in.
Right.
It turns out the movie wasn't Brief Encounter, it was Psycho.
Yeah. And they had to get Yasmin out of there. Toot sweet.
Why? Because of the whole Tim's dad thing?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. Because remember when Tim's dad dressed up as a woman and murdered Yasmin's sister in the shower? And then Yasmin came to the hotel looking for her.
I do remember that.
Yeah.
Some black and white, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Chocolate sauce.
Can I just say, I really loved the estate agent sexual innuendo going on there. That was just hilarious. Like
Yeah.
the bifold doors, especially, I thought was quite clever.
She's talking about her labia there, right?
Yes. Good job, Ruby.
Yeah, I'll pay attention.
It's also hilarious too because season 2 of Bridgerton has just started. So like my whole Twitter feed is just people talking about Bridgerton. And every time I just think, yeah, Phoebe Diviner's mom was dressed up as a sexy nurse this week.
Yeah. That's a nice outfit that she had. It was classic nurse's uniform, right? Like, nurses don't wear uniforms like that, but...
Well, no.
But
especially not that short.
But that's like the classic saucy nurse's uniform.
Going on Amazon right now. And
It was the fact that she was being an estate agent in a nurse's uniform that I really
that was
liked.
hilarious.
I really liked that. So, yeah, so Tim's mum was expecting brief encounter. She also wasn't expecting them to be getting their whole in daylight hours. And she thought Tim and Sally were a bit old for doctors and nurses. And embarrassed, she leaves them to it, asking Sally to go easy on Tim. No anal. So later, Tim and Sally come down the
so
stairs.
Sally puts away the strap on.
and Tim heaves a sigh of relief. Later, Tim and
Or
Sally...
does he?
Does he indeed? So later, Tim and Sally come... I knew this was going to be a mess. So later, Tim and Sally come down the stairs of Discovery, discovering that despite all the enthusiasm, it seems that Tim has not been able to hide his sausage.
Wow.
Tim calls it the yips. Sally thinks he's out of practice. Tim says he couldn't stop thinking about Psycho and is reluctant to give it another try when Sally suggests another attempt.
He
Tim
kept
would rather
imagining
just...
his dad dressed up as a granny.
Tim would rather just eat his sandwich, but
And
not
I like
that.
that.
Sally starts talking about Pelly, and that does it for Tim. This is all because of his mum, and he's going to throw his mum out tomorrow. Getting his hole is more important than the mother he's only met in the last couple of years. And Sally approves.
Yeah, I was... the whole Pele stuff. I thought Pele was dead. I guess he's not.
I have no idea.
I thought he died.
He did do some impotent
right, commercials.
which I thought was a brave choice for Pelly to do at the time.
Well, he's Pele. He can get away with anything.
Is Pelly dead? Giggle says that he is a Brazilian former professional footballer, so he is still alive and apparently never acknowledged his eldest daughter, even after her death in 2006.
Oof.
Oh, that's taking a turn.
No, yeah.
Yeah, he's still alive.
All right.
And still as impotent as a stone.
Yeah.
Well done, Pelly.
Well done.
Sally gets a call from Gina asking her to practice her skating a little bit more. Before she goes off to do that, Sally suggests getting her hole in the afternoon, reminding Tim to speak to his mum to get her to fuck off. It's going to be hard, says Tim. Aye, says Sally. Tim takes Tim's mum to the bistro and abruptly talks to her about how shite the spare room is and she must be missing home. What exactly are you trying to say, Tim? Says Tim's mum. So when Tim and Tim's mum get back, it turns out that rather than telling her to fuck off, Tim has offered to decorate the spare room for her. Sally, who is naked under her coat,
yes,
is furious about this.
Yes. At least she didn't go the cling wrap route.
Oh, wow. That's a kink, innit?
That would have been awkward.
I think it was already awkward.
It's been
Because
awkward.
Tim's mum seems to know what's going on here, because
Right.
Tim's mum said, oh, what are you doing wearing your coat in the house? Sally, that's a bit weird, isn't it?
Right. And if you're cold, you should be wearing a cardigan, not a coat.
Yeah.
You look silly. It irritates me because I like Tim's mum and I don't like Tim's mum doing this shit
Tim's
to
mum
grown adults.
Tim's mum has been like this for a while. Tim's mum is this person now. So Tim asks how furious Sally is with him on a scale of 1 to 10. 50,000, says Sally. That's quite a lot, says Tim. So Sally decides that he's going to tell Tim's mum to leave, but when she tries, Tim's mum looks up at her with doe eyes, and Sally bottles it and offers her a coffee. Not so easy, says Tim, is it? And that's as far as we get with that this week.
She does have that face. She's got that Puss in Boots face.
Yeah, big eyes. Mm-hmm. Big old eyes.
Big sad eyes.
Yes, Sally? Voiced by Harry. Well, Adam said he would come to my birthday party.
Soft play.
Terrifying. Still funny.
I still don't know what soft play is. Is it playing with soft toys somewhere?
I think it's like a ball pit and things like that, isn't it? And everything's foam,
Right. Everything's soft.
I guess.
Yeah. Whatever it
This
is.
still funny, this storyline.
It's getting a bit old.
It's a little
I
bit.
just want them to have sex.
I like it.
Lots and lots and lots of sex.
Get the wah-wah guitar out for next week. No, I think this is a joke that is best done in moderation. Like
Yeah,
most jokes.
Yeah.
Right? but not like that.
Because, like I said, it's making me start to hate Tim's mum a little bit, and I don't want to do that because
Tim's mum
I
has
love
been
her.
annoying, but I think if they'd done it on Monday, then fine. But Monday and Wednesday is like, okay, this is the storyline again this week, because it was kind of the storyline last week as well. I think it's fine, but they are amping it up, the whole nurse's uniform thing, and again they're sailing so close to the wind with some of the innuendo.
Right? Yeah, like the bifold doors.
The bifold doors and the ball sports and what else? There was. It's not hard. Oh, it better be. You know, they really are going all in on the.
Which I love.
Pushing the innuendo
More
as far
of
as
this,
they can.
please.
Really?
More of this. It's a soap opera. Give me all of the sexual innuendo. That's what I watch soap operas for.
Is it?
Yes.
That's what you read Finbar Saunders and his double entendres for. I don't know if it's what you watch a soap for.
Soaps are supposed to be sexy.
No, it's American soaps again.
No, well, also American soaps have aliens and pet chimpanzees, so
I thought this was a way to get Tim's mum back out of it again if she was only going to be a fleeting character, but it looks like she's at least staying for another week.
right.
She's getting her spare
Getting her
room
room
decorated.
decorated.
Hang about for that, right?
That got to piss Sally off too, that she was not consulted on colours and wallpapers and stuff.
Sally would be very, very upset.
Yeah,
about
I
that.
was surprised she wasn't more mad about that.
Because now it's Tim's mum's room. That's because Tim's not choosing the wallpaper.
No.
Tim's mum is.
Yeah.
Oofed.
And we do know that she has some questionable taste sometimes.
It's like Tim's mum's like pissing on the carpet to mark her territory.
Right. Yeah. But it seems like it was Tim's suggestion.
Oh, it was.
Yeah. I don't know.
Let's go somewhere with this. Let's get some resolution to this next week.
Yes. Please.
Our
Please.
next-
Next week. Tim is hard.
Our next storyline.
Please.
Our next storyline this morning is Fizzy's filthy windows.
But not like that.
On Monday, at Nina's Rolls, Fizz bumps into Phill with 2 L's, who has the Situations Vacant page open in the Weather Gazette, 4 pages of local jobs.
Who looks in the newspaper to find a job anymore? Is this 1970?
Say it properly.
Do we have a voice for
It's the
1970?
same one. It's the same one.
Is this the 1970?
There you go. See it? It works. He's got the heave-ho from the council
Man.
thanks to them being a stinking grass. Fizz is worried about how this will affect their house move, but Phill, with 2 L's, confirms that they completed
See-
before he got the sack, but they're fucked when it comes to the renovations, because now he's skint.
Are there no whistleblower laws in the United Kingdom?
Yeah, I thought there were.
Yeah. He should not have been fired for this. Although the way he words it, it sounds like he was gently persuaded.
He was encouraged
out.
to resign. Yeah, he wasn't
Yeah.
sacked. He was
Right. To
encouraged
cover their
resign.
asses. But he should have said, no, fuck you. I'm staying in my job.
Mm-hmm.
What's wrong with you, Phill, with 2 L's? You knew this was coming.
He could have been a Chelsea Manning with 3 N's.
Well,
Fitz-
only not.
Fizz decides to call the estate agent about the sale of number 9 to get it moved along. So a very young senior sales executive turns up to take photos of the house with his phone, telling Fizz that our windows are a fucking disgrace and the sinkholes in the area have understandably put potential buyers off.
And he's not wrong.
No.
And she's being really shitty to him.
Yeah.
She should have washed those windows and fixed the thing in the back, because there's something in the back that needs to be
Guttering
fixed.
was... Yeah.
Right, yeah.
He suggests dropping their price or just waiting and clean your fucking windows. Fizz goes to see Tyrone and asks him to lower the asking price, and Tyrone is reluctant until Fizz starts talking about Alina and saying her last name and how his libido has got them into this mess. So Tyrone seems to agree to lowering the price. Belter, says Fizz.
There's something... she makes a joke about pop.
She was going to have a balloon or a flag or something that had pop written on it.
Yeah.
It wasn't a great joke.
No.
It did exist though.
Yeah.
It's got that going for it. So at the bistro, Phill tells Phill with 2 L's about Tyrone's sudden change of heart. Fizz blames Maria for all of this. Phill, though, would rather he did the right thing, and he's sure that everything from now on will be plain sailing. Sure, says Fizz, but she's seen the show before. And she knows that saying things like that is seldom a good idea.
No.
Then we jump to Friday, and Fizz and Phill with 2 L's are having a loud conversation about house prices outside the garage so Tyrone can overhear.
And they also say they love one another, which was nice.
Fizz doubts that Ty is going to lower the price, even though he seemed to agree to do so the previous day.
Well, he said he'd think about it.
Tyrone sucks a thoughtful tooth as he overhears this. So Phill and Fizz meet a homosexual estate agent in Nina's Rolls as opposed to their house, because sure. And after a fashion, Fizz says that they're going to keep the price as is. But then the guy says, well, Tyrone has already given the order to bring the price down. Well, fuck me, ragged, says Phill with 2 L's.
That guy looks really familiar, doesn't he? Like I've seen him in something else, or he reminds me of somebody I know.
Yeah, I think I saw something on the Twitter saying that he looked like somebody, but I can't remember who that somebody was. And now I can't remember what he looks like. I thought he was the Ridian guy from the Double Glammy.
Only wrong accent.
Who'd got out of that game and into something else. But
Ridian has more hair.
I can barely remember what he looks like.
They both favour long chain gold jewellery, though.
Yes. So Phill goes to the garage. That guy was like 150%. Whoever he was. The staging guy.
He was like, "Are those trains?" Yes, those are trains.
Right. Roy likes trains,
He
says Fizz.
He calls Roy steampunk.
Fizz goes to the garage to thank Tyrone. Ty says that he knows the girls are dead excited about the new house and he wants them to move in as soon as possible. You're a good guy, says Phill with 2 L's. And I really think you should wear that Michigan State t-shirt more often because you suit it. In the pub.
You know what's hilarious about that? I was kind of thinking that myself because he was like wearing a Hudson
River thing. Yeah.
Right. And I'm like, this would have been the perfect scene to wear your Spartans t-shirt.
Mm-hmm. I don't think he has that anymore. In the pub, Phill with 2 L's and Fizz chat about the moving. Phill thinks that he's not working, so he can make a start on the renovations right away. And Fizz says that she's handy with the DIY, so she can do that too once she's finished work.
Right.
So
this
all
is
the
a
money
conversation that should have happened in the beginning.
Right. So they don't. I'm trying to remember why they need to sell the house. Is it
because they need the money for renovations on the new house?
But Phill hasn't asked. Wasn't it that Phill hasn't asked Fizz for any of this? But Fizz wants to have some kind of investment in the new house straight away.
Right. But now that Phill has lost his job, they kind of need that money that Phill initially said they didn't need.
But they don't need it now because he's decided to do the renovations himself rather than pay somebody to do it.
Right. Although he'll still need some money to do it because supplies aren't free. You have to have supplies. It's not just...
In the pub, Phill and Fizz are chatting about moving. Phill thinks that if he's not working... literally just finished reading that. So Fizz goes to tell Tyrone and the young crew flat, how weird does it look, Tyrone, in that flat with Emma and Faye and Craig. You go back to that flat and there's old man Tyrone sitting in his rocking chair in the corner, not wearing an MSU Spartans t-shirt. So anyway, he goes in... No. So Fizz goes to the flat and tells Tyrone that they'll be moving sooner rather than later so they can start doing the place up. Maybe even as soon as Monday, says Fizz.
Right, yeah. Because once the roof is done, then they can...
Yeah, it's habitable.
Right.
So Fizz and Tyrone both try to look happy about this, but they both look a little bit upset about it.
Yeah, it was very interesting, wasn't it?
Yeah, Fizz still has some longings for Tyrone, do you think? Well, they were together for a very long time.
Somebody on TV in the UK was wearing that peacock shirt on like some show.
Yes, it was a woman.
It was a woman. Yes.
I can't remember who that was.
And she looked better in it. She had the shoulders for it. The feathers kind of flared.
Was it Lorraine Kelly? I don't think so. But it was somebody like Lorraine Kelly, wasn't it?
Yes. I don't know
You
who
don't know who Lorraine Kelly is. She was in Corrie. She was the woman that Gail shot on the pedalo.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, I don't think it was her.
Somebody like her.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know what somebody like Lorraine Kelly means, but it was somebody
But
like her.
it was hilarious.
So yeah, Fizz still has feelings for Tyrone, do you think?
Is it that, or is she a little sad about moving off the street?
Now, here's the thing. Is she moving out?
What do you mean by moving out?
Is she moving out and away? Is she leaving the show? Is what I'm asking.
I don't think so. I don't think her contract's up quite yet. And she has insisted in interviews that she's not leaving the show. And the house isn't that far away.
Well, where is it?
We know they've mentioned where it is when it first came up. And one of Fizz's points was that it wasn't that far away to Tyrone.
Oh, it was a couple of tram rides away though.
Yeah.
Or a couple of tram stops away. So it's far enough.
But Fizz will still be working in the factory. So
I don't know. You worry about characters that move off the street because there's really no reason to be on the street.
only Fizz does because she still works there. And she still has to bring the girls to see Tyrone occasionally.
Does she work at the factory or does she work at the furniture thing or does she work at both?
I think she works at both now. Because there's a rule that only redheads can work in the furniture shop.
That's true.
Yeah.
People don't like buying antiques off of non-gingers.
Yes, you must be ginger to work here.
Right. You don't have to be ginger to work here, but it helps.
They've got a stock of hair dye in the back just in case.
All right, I think we're kind of not really saying anything about this anymore. So let's move on to the next storyline, which is Flea-Roasted Peanut. Still don't know. On Monday at the Young Crew flat, Craig and Faye are discussing names for their unlikely child. They both have awful last names.
I'm glad that somebody finally pointed out that Windass is an awful last name.
Craig, meanwhile, is off to speak to his boss about getting his job back. There are crimes in Weatherfield that need his corrupt influence. Use the white shirt, besides Faye.
Yeah.
Craig says something weird about
Even though
doing a
he's
spoonerism on his name or something like that, or
right, like
Kerting or something, to take the second syllable of his name and put it. I don't know what the fuck he was talking about.
Winder.
But it was just a way for Faye to suggest that Asswind wouldn't be a great last name for their child either.
Or Tink-Ass.
Anyway.
Or Tink-Wind.
Are they really going to have this baby?
No.
I don't think so either.
Although I heard,
maybe I'm just hoping not.
Although I saw speculation that it might be twins, and it's like, really,
no!
what is in the water in the street?
No. Do you know what's a really bad idea? Giving Craig and Faye a child. Do you know what's even worse? Give them two at the same time. So anyway,
And
later, Emma comes in and narrowly misses Faye making a doctor's appointment for being up the duff, and Emma doesn't have much in the way of plans for the day, so Craig gets her to walk the dog, and Emma agrees because she's such a doormat.
Right. She does make a face, though. Like,
Well, yeah, and
why-
that works.
why the hell am I walking
Making a
these
face doesn't
people's
work.
doors?
Saying something works. So Emma walks the dog with John, who just will not shut the fuck up for 1 second.
And why on earth did she call John to help her walk a dog?
They run into Beth, who is keen to be introduced to Emma's new man. This is Beth, says Emma. And later Beth goes to see Craig and takes Kirk, who sits in a corner bouncing on an exercise ball.
Right, because it's the young people's flat, so of course they have an exercise ball for a chair because they're trendy like that.
She tells Craig about the strange meeting she had with Emma and her bloke, and it seemed that she couldn't remember the guy's name but settled on Martin. There was definite chemistry between them. Beth says that in front of Craig. That's cruel. Craig's detective skills leap into action, and he looks like he's suspicious that Martin's name might be Marvin, which also allows him to ignore the fact that his mum just said chemistry.
Now, here's the thing. Beth sees Emma with her dog, with Peanut.
She says, that's my dog.
Yeah.
So Emma should say, have it.
Here you go. Not only does she not take Peanut back, but she goes to Craig's flat that he shares with Emma, who is walking the dog currently,
Right.
just to do this little bit of exposition, and then fucks off before Emma can get back and give her back her dog, because I'm assuming that's why they're in the young person's flat in the first place.
Or just visiting Craig, because they do that all the time, don't they?
They never do that.
Emma gets home and Craig immediately jumps on her about Martin. Faye accuses Emma of it being John, telling her she's not in a Hugh Grant movie, whatever that means. Emma insists that she hasn't seen John, and Faye tends to believe her. Craig needs to know because he's about to get his old job back, and Emma sticks to the story.
Faye doesn't like rom-coms.
Faye says Emma isn't stupid enough to continue this lie.
Although Hugh Grant hasn't done a rom-com since...
Since before that
Like-
incident.
Yeah. It was the last one was the one with Julia Roberts, wasn't it? Notting Hill. I think Notting Hill is the last rom-com he's done, and now he's just voiceovers for in children's
beg your-
movies.
May I remind you of Paddington 2?
Right, yes, which is a children's movie. He doesn't
was
do
a
a voiceover,
voiceover.
though. He's going to be in the Amazing Maurice movie.
On Wednesday at the Young Crew flat, Craig has got an email. He's got his job back.
Whoop, whoop. And they told him in an email, because this meeting really could have been an email, and it was.
PC Tinker rides again, only this time corruptly. They invite Emma to the bistro for celebrations at lunchtime, but Emma has other plans with that schoolmate of hers that doesn't exist.
Or he does exist, only he's not really a schoolmate.
So Emma and John are having a lovely afternoon at Debbie's Rape Hotel. Emma has heard that some rooms have jacuzzis, and one of them even has a fish tank, and in lots of them, a rape has happened. John decides to find out by getting a room. There's extended chatter between the two of them where John laughs, and they briefly mention his going off to Australia, but settle with going off to get their hole in the fish tank room. On Friday
Only the fish tank and the hot tub are not the same thing.
at the Rape Hotel, Emma and John enjoy a cheese breakfast that they both find hilarious. John talks Emma
Because who eats cheese at breakfast? Lots of French people.
John talks Emma into throwing a sickie so they can spend the day laughing at clouds and puddles together.
And doing indoor skydiving.
Well, see, wait, because I'm getting to that.
Oh, okay.
So later, Emma tells John she wishes that he didn't have to go to Australia next week. They're about to go their separate ways when John suggests they go indoor skydiving. So they go off to do that. And they laugh a lot.
Yes.
Emma gets home, laughing. Faye was worried sick, so Emma explains that she spent the night with her mate and then went indoor skydiving. Oh, Emma, says Faye and Craig, like an American sitcom. And that's as far as we go with that.
He's leaving soon.
Not soon enough.
And I guess she's going to go with him?
Well, of course, that's what's going to happen.
Or is she going to be caught out and sent to prison?
Well, that's an awful lot to ask for next week.
Yeah.
Because I understand that whatever's happening
It's happening
happens
next week. Yeah.
Like he's going off to Australia next week. So something has to happen next week.
They really want to make sure she never comes back, don't they?
Yeah, and they're trying to make her just, I don't know, they're kind of spoiling her character a bit.
Yeah.
I think with this shit, with this character here, this John bloke. I'm just not taken to. I don't know if you've noticed that.
Yeah. John is the new Daisy.
Right.
Now that you kind of like Daisy.
God, I would prefer Daisy every day of the week and twice on Sundays rather than this John bloke. It's not doing it for me.
He kind of looks like Jaden Smith.
Does he? This whole Emma just bumping from one guy to the other, and she thinks it's the bloke, and she thinks she's finally found somebody, and then it turns out that
There's something wrong with him.
right, and this time he's going to Australia, so
And also, he killed his granddad.
right. I was going to say it's the same storyline over and over again, and minus the granddad bit, it kind of is.
Yeah.
They couldn't even give her a great original send-off. It has to be just a
Well, at least her mum is
Piece of
in
nothing
Australia, so
right.
she's got somebody there. And she's talked before the whole John thing about moving to Australia. Remember when her mum was sick? She was going to go to Australia, and then she didn't. For some reason. I'm just worried that once one of Steve's kids leaves the show, that they're just going to introduce a new one.
There's a line. Steve's kids
Steve
on the
must-
right.
Must have a minimum of this amount of children on the street at all times.
Right.
Yeah, it's not great. It's
It
not
isn't great.
great. And
It isn't great, and I think Emma deserves a little bit better.
yeah, and so does Alexandra.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And I hope she finds it somewhere else.
Yeah. Our next storyline this morning is, wait a minute, what did we miss? On Wednesday, Todd's back.
Sure.
Not only that, he's in Billy's flat
Why?
in the morning, having breakfast.
Yeah, he doesn't look like he spent the night, though.
They're both worried about the amount of work Summer is doing preparing for her exams. Todd suggests chamomile tea, which he understands is supposed to be calming. Yes, I know what fucking chamomile tea is, Todd, says Summer, calmly.
Yes.
And she goes back to her room, leaving Todd and Billy to look at each other and wonder how exactly they ended up in the same room together.
So we're back to Summer being really anal about school again, are we?
All of this just makes me wonder, is she really that clever to be having to do this much revision and studying?
Right. Yeah.
I thought she knew stuff. Apparently she doesn't. Apparently she's forgotten it all.
Apparently she does, but she thinks she still needs to study more for some reason. But didn't she already pass?
No, she got an offer for Oxford, but apparently these are mock exams as well. These aren't even the proper exams. These
What
are
the
mocks.
hell is going on here?
I have no idea why she got so fucky with this.
It's like they just shoehorned a scene from last year.
Right. Yeah. Later, Billy has made lunch and gets sand under his foreskin when Summer doesn't immediately drop everything to come into the room to eat it. She claims she's working and needs to remain focused. He offers to test her on her French, but his plan falls to pieces when it turns out that he can't speak French. She takes her lunch back to her room.
Greasy cheese on toast.
Everybody sucks here. Later, Summer has taken a 7.5 minute break to get coffee, which doesn't account for chatting with Asha and Nina, who she bumps into. Asha reveals that these are just mock exams, and the best way to revise sometimes is to not revise, which I absolutely agree with.
Yes.
And Nina suggests going to a gig with them and Amy tomorrow night.
Right.
Sure,
And Nina's
whatever,
back.
says Summer. When Billy comes home, Summer hides a textbook and pretends to be doom scrolling on her phone. Billy is thrilled by this and suggests that they have a movie night. Great, says Summer's mouth. Fuck's sake, says Summer's face. On Friday at Nina's Rolls, Billy continues to try and encourage Summer to have a night out for a change, and she reluctantly agrees, but first she boggles to see how much booze she can knock back on insulin. Turns out, some. So Summer meets up with Asha and Amy and they agree that they're all looking amazing. Summer's briefly worried that she's wearing something that's too tight.
Right.
Because remember, she has...
Isn't it that same dress that she wore before that
The
she was
last
worried
time she
about
thought that,
too
yes.
tight? Yeah.
Summer's bored of being the sensible one and they make plans to get totally fucking wrecked, while Asha ensures that Summer will monitor her blood sugar at all times.
Yes.
But first to go to Nina's Rolls, Nina asks if Summer is allowed to drink. Fucking hell yes, snaps Summer. Crack that bottle open. She insists that she's not going to get hammered and then stumbles away to the bus stop while her friends look on concerned and they head into town.
And she gives a long speech about the next pandemic or
And
whatever
global
else is
warming.
going on
Yeah.
in the world.
So the girls get the bus home. They've had a wonderful time, but Asha can't help bugging Summer a bit more by reminding her to check on her blood sugar. Summer says that she can have a normal night out, it's no biggie. And when she gets in, Billy's on her back to check her blood sugar as well. It's a little low, he says, so he tells her to eat some jelly babies, and she makes a quip about being fat, and he worries that she's still worried about her weight. She insists that she isn't, but as she's eating a jelly baby, she looks like she wants to spit it out. And that's as far as we get with that this week. Yeah, it's a bit... I can't make that noise. No, I can't. There we go.
There we
That's
go.
better.
Remember when it was Paul randomly showing up back in Billy's flat to be concerned about Summer?
No, I
And
don't
now
remember
it's-
that.
Because I said, wait, does this mean that Paul and Billy are back together? And you said, oh, I hope not. And obviously they're not, because remember,
That does sound like something I would say.
because Paul was at the hospital when Summer was in the hospital.
Oh, all three of them rushed
Yeah.
to the hospital, didn't they? It was like my three dads.
No, and I remember making a comment that Todd wasn't there, and it was weird that Todd wasn't there because doesn't he have a legal responsibility to Summer? And you said,
I do remember three of them being there.
I think that was for the last time Summer was rushed to the hospital when she was diagnosed with the diabetes. This is the time
Oh, this was the time she
after
was knocked
that when
down.
she was,
She was run over by Kathy.
or she fainted because she'd been making herself vomit or something. I don't know. I'm just so tired of this Summer shit. It's just recycling the same storyline over and over and over again. Summer studies too much. Summer has diabetes. Summer's worried she's too fat. Over and over and over again. It was like when I was like, come on, can Kelly catch a break, please? Or does Asha need more trauma in her life? You know, it's just do something original, please. Let's do something different. Let's give Summer a boyfriend now.
Can Kelly catch a break? Can Abby catch a break? Can Nina catch a break?
Can Asha catch a break?
Have you seen a little bit of a pattern
Can
here?
Summer catch a break?
There must be.
There must be something all of these actors have in common. What could it possibly be?
I'm stumped. But yeah, it's like, let's not give her one thing to worry about. Because she's
give
worried
us-
about exams. She's worried about getting into Oxford, I believe. I think she's mentioned that. She's worried about her diabetes. She's worried about being, how she's seen by her friends. She's potentially, or maybe she is just bulimic now. It's like there's like umpteen things that were suddenly piling on her at the same time
And apparently they keep jelly babies in a bag in the cupboard.
for moments like this. I don't know. It was nice to see Todd again, and I do mean that.
Yes, I just
miss Todd.
I think we have made it clear that we like Todd, just not in Billy's storylines.
Right.
Give us more Todd and his mum,
Yeah.
and Todd and the Undertaker, and Todd handing out cards to people whose relatives are near death.
Yeah.
Todd
More
and
of that.
Daisy. You know, Todd being sassy with his lady friends.
Oh, I think Todd and Daisy would be fantastic together.
Yeah. Because a few scenes they've had together, they've been fantastic. Because Daisy's so much better than Sarah.
So long as Todd has nothing to do with Billy,
Yeah.
I'm quite happy for Todd to be as complicitous. Is that the right word? I'm quite happy for him to be the conniving, scheming
Right.
character that he is. Just
Duplicitous.
duplicitous, that's what I'm looking for. Just nothing to do with Billy.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I don't even mind if he's still kind of the concerned dad for
Oh, I'm happy with
Summer.
that. Happy with that.
just not in Billy's flat.
Nothing to do with Billy. And that's not because I have anything against Billy.
No. We just don't like
Just
Todd
the
and
two of
Billy
them-
together.
The two of them together.
It just
shouldn't be
raises
a
my
thing.
blood pressure.
Let's move on into a very, very brief penultimate storyline, the Roy's Gambit. On Monday at
Oh, yeah,
Nina's
I
Rolls,
forgot.
Nick tells Sam that he's found out about a space camp thing in Manchester. Anything to say about that, Helen?
I went to the real space camp
In Manchester?
in seventh grade. No, in Huntsville, Alabama, where they actually
That's where they fire rockets.
right.
In Alabama.
Yes.
Famously.
Yes, because
It's not Cape Canaveral
that's
or Houston.
right. It's Huntsville where they also shoot the rockets because the south part of America is the best part for doing this sort of thing. It's the only thing it's good at.
That's what you think of when you think Alabama.
Yeah.
So anyway,
What do you think of when you think of Alabama?
poverty.
Be careful what you say because
Poverty.
remember, I have relatives in Alabama.
Poverty.
That's just a blanket statement for the whole South, though, isn't it?
Well,
Poverty.
Particularly for
Because
Alabama.
Mississippi is more impoverished than Alabama, isn't it?
I thought Alabama was the poorest state.
I thought it was Mississippi. Anyway, it's one of them.
Yeah, not famous for rockets, that's my point. So anyway, Nick's bought tickets for Sam to go to this space camp thing. Space sucks balls, says Sam, and he looks like he's about to run away again. Sam hasn't run away in ages.
No.
Starting to think maybe this was a Natasha thing. But you love space, says Nick, and he starts to cry. In the bistro, Nick tells Gail about Sam refusing to go to space camp, and Sam comes in and says, look, I didn't refuse. I'm just saying that I'm not really into this anymore. I like other things.
Like chess.
Then Nick spots Sam's game record journal and starts flicking through it, reading the dates, even though Sam tells him not to.
Right.
Have
And
you
it was
been-
hidden under a coat.
Have you been playing chess behind my back, you bitch? Says Nick. And later, Leanne doesn't know what the big deal was.
God, the parenting on the street. First, Billy is happier when Summer is doom scrolling than when she's studying. And now Nick treats chess like a drug addiction.
Yeah, like he's mainlining, he's chasing the dragon.
Right.
Nick says it's affecting his schoolwork, and it's not like Sam likes chess, he's obsessed with it. And I'd far prefer Sam to be obsessed about space again. You're a dick, says Leanne.
And Gail, I think.
And that's as far as we get with that this week.
Yeah. Because why are we even talking about this anymore?
Yeah, someone mentioned on Twitter, what on earth is Nick's problem here? And I said, he's an asshole. And that's the problem. Leanne tried to make out that he's trying to deal with the whole grieving thing and
Right.
try to make sure that Sam doesn't become dependent on something as a grieving crutch.
Uh-huh.
Like that would be a terrible thing to do.
Right.
I really don't get what... Is Nick's problem that it's something that he's not interested in?
Well, he wasn't really interested in space either. But at least space isn't something that you say, you know what, I just can't play this. This is not a game I can play. It's not
Right.
Kerplunk.
And Sam can't say, you know what, I'm going to go around to Nina's Rolls and speak to Roy about space. That's not going to happen.
Right. Although it might. No. It was. It's the Undertaker who's really into space. And remember, Nick was pissed about that too.
Oh, he was.
Yeah. All of these other men who are much better fathers than he is to
He
their
just doesn't
son.
like having this pointed out to him.
Right,
That The
yeah.
Undertaker and Roy are better at this than he is.
Right. I can understand Sam wanting to step away from everything that he loved before his mom died.
Absolutely.
That's absolutely reasonable. It seems weird that it's taken this long for Nick to realize that Sam isn't really all that into space anymore, that he doesn't catch him looking out on with his telescope or anything.
He's growing up.
Right. Yeah.
I quite liked dinosaurs when I was a kid.
Uh-huh.
And then you stop liking dinosaurs.
Well, do you ever really stop? Do you hate dinosaurs now?
I don't hate them, but I'm not really interested in them.
What have dinosaurs ever done to you?
They died.
And left you all alone.
Right. Yeah, I wouldn't thank you for a book on dinosaurs now. I would have if I was 8.
What if it was like Jurassic Park?
No.
Because you've already read that, haven't you?
Yeah, it's a good book.
Yeah. Michael Crichton's not bad.
It's all right.
It's all right.
It's actually arguably a better book than it's a film.
Which one, though?
The first one. Anything after that, I don't really count. Anyway, let's move on to our final storyline this morning. What's it all about Alfie? On Monday, Toyah and Elsie are getting ready to go wedding venue shopping, but before he joins them, Imran announces that he's off to see Abby ahead of their upcoming custody hearing.
And apparently Elsie refuses to get out of her princess dress. It looks like Cinderella.
At the hospital, Abby has moved into a new place at the fictitious precinct. That doesn't really make sense, but they're at the hospital, but she's moved in now to her new place.
Right.
Anyway, she tells Imran that Alfie is making good progress. He's going to be okay, which means that she needs to win her hearing tomorrow. Thank you very much. She can't lose Alfie now. He's going to live, which sounds awful. Even though Imran has plans, he agrees to hang about while Abby gets some food. And later, Abby asks Imran when he's going to tell Toyah. Speak of the devil, in comes Toyah wondering where Imran has got to, and she apologises for thinking about the wedding when there's Alfie to think of, who she calls a precious little bundle, just to make Imran feel even more guilty. Mm-hmm. On Wednesday, as Imran prepares for Abby's hearing, Toyah wonders why he's heading out so early. Imran blames Abby being a volatile woman. He has to go over things more than once with her. Toyah thinks Imran is fab, so gives him a big kiss and a hug and gently squeezes his butt cheeks. At the hospital,
Which is the universal sign of I love you.
Squeeze of the butt cheeks.
Yes.
At the hospital, Abby is dressed up to look responsible. Imran points out that the court is going to challenge that, and the court is probably going to win. He gives Abby a slender chance. Abby looks at Alfie and calls him her new start, a chance to make Seb proud, to be the best mum ever.
And Imran also points out, look, this is just the first hearing. You know, there are things we can do after this, you know. So even if it doesn't go our way, don't worry about it, because it's not the end of, you know, it's not the most permanent. This isn't the final say.
At the court, Abby doesn't want to go into the hearing because it'll be too difficult to hear all these horrible things about her, and Imran loses his shit. Do you have any idea the risks I'm taking for you? He explains about the conflict of interest, and if anyone found out that he was Alfie's dad, he could lose his job and the adoption of Elsie would fall through. He's risking everything for his son.
He could lose his license.
That's more important than anything. And right on cue, Toyah shows up to offer support, and Abby agrees to go in after all. So in the hearing, unfortunately for Abby, the local authority has spent some money on some decent counsel, and she makes a fine case for Alfie going into care. Alfie was born while Abby was on drinking drugs. She gives a false name to the hospital. She abandoned the baby. She didn't come forward. She wanted nothing to do with the child. She didn't even know she was pregnant, even though she'd had twins, says the woman.
Yeah, she'd been pregnant.
And both of them have been put into care, and she once left the twins with her 13-year-old brother, who is now dead, and then gave up the twins willingly. Imran tells the hearing that Seb died and Abby wants to be a good mum. Thank you, my lord. I'm not my lord, I'm a madam, says the judge. Whatever, says Imran.
And, you know, she was on drugs and drunk when she gave birth to this child.
Yes.
But for the most part of her pregnancy, she was sober. And I don't think that gets pointed out at all, ever.
Maybe because it's irrelevant.
You know, she didn't know she was pregnant, so it's kind of irrelevant.
Well, they're kind of not believing that, I think, is
Right, yeah.
It's a position.
Because we don't believe that.
No, nobody believes that. The show doesn't believe that. The show has a list of characters that just walk in and, like to the woman in the airplane, explain to her that there's no way in the world that she didn't know she was pregnant.
But, you know, it sucks because there's so much good about Abby that just never gets mentioned.
Is there?
Remember when we were getting tired that she was everybody's hero?
Yeah.
That she was saving people from falling down buildings and stuff.
She had the hero complex, but name one person who hasn't been damaged by her poison.
Sam. No. Sam has been damaged by her poison.
Everything she touches,
the quads,
turns to shit.
The quads have not been.
She's not had any dealings with them.
Right. Yeah. She hasn't poisoned Gemma.
Anyone that she gets close to, anyone who lets her in, soon comes to regret it.
Yeah. But some of those people were assholes to begin with.
Well,
Looking at you,
this is
Kev.
true. This is true.
Kev deserves to be treated badly by Abby because he's a dick, and I hate him.
What this council has done is really shine a light on Abby's character. It doesn't make for a very pleasant reading.
No.
So the judge has a wee think about it and then says, you know what, this isn't even close. With no father on the scene, baby in care. Boom, done. And after an angry Abby snaps at Imran and Toyah asking what their verdict would have been, asking what their verdict would have been. Imran, the lover of a lost cause, wants to put together a better case to get Alfie back, and Toyah is like, told your horses there, big man. So Toyah and Imran are in Nina's roles, and Toyah suggests that maybe Alfie going into care is for the best. And Imran is outraged, which makes Toyah wonder why he's taking this so hard.
And he's also crying.
He wasn't this involved with Yasmin, and Yasmin was a friend.
Right.
This isn't solely on him, and she warns him that he can't beat himself up about it, so Imran agrees to take a step back.
In Imran's defense, though, he was this upset about Kelly as well, because that's what got him in the whole Alfie mess, was how upset he was over Kelly. He got so drunk that he rented a hotel room and slept with Abby.
Right. That's super drunk, by the way. Meanwhile, on the street, Abby is walking by the garage. Abby! Shouts Kev. Abby! Abby!
Abby!
Abby!
Abby!
Abby goes into detail about how awful the hearing for Alfie was, but then realises that Kev isn't interested. He's only interested in telling her that some of her shit is still in his house. She then takes 2 steps, and then Toyah springs out of nowhere to tell her that Imran will be taking a step back from her case and from now on. But best of luck, Abby looks down to find Peanut peeing on her boot, and then a seagull shits on her shoulder.
Right, and then a factory wall collapses on top of her. Again.
So when Imran goes to see Alfie...
What the hell, Toyah, though? What the hell? Why is she telling... This is not her business, and there's no way Imran would have had enough time to talk to Abby about this.
At this point, Toyah's been given such furtive looks that I was starting to wonder if she was suspecting something. And that was why she was getting involved there. That she was just, let's nip this shit in the bud here.
Right.
It's hardly in the bud, but you know what I mean.
Yes.
So when Imran goes to see Alfie...
late to get that horse back in the stable.
A late bloomer. So when Imran goes to see Alfie at the hospital, the nurse on the ward explains that Imran is banned from seeing his son. So he storms round to Abby's new flat, which seems to be furnished.
Only the nurse
Nicely furnished.
Only the nurse doesn't know that that's his son. And also, this child has been put into care, so does Abby really have a say anymore?
Not in care until the baby is discharged from hospital.
Oh, okay.
Thanks for ditching me, ass, she says. He explains that he had to do this to keep Toyah off the scent about why he cares so much. He promises to find her a specialist that'll make her case stronger. How dare you come into my house that you're paying for and lie to me like this, says Abby. So Imran tells her that he'll put his name on the birth certificate so Alfie won't be put into care. What about the adoption, asks Abby. My son comes first, says Imran. So Imran gets home and Toyah apologises for blabbing to Abby about him stepping away, and he's cool with it. And she goes off to check on Elsie, allowing him to phone Abby and tell her that the guy who lost Leanne's case with Oliver has agreed to help and he's going to pay for it all. Abby asks about Toyah. You let me worry about her, says Imran. And at that point, I think Toyah is in grave danger here.
In fairness to that guy, that other lawyer, the one that lost Oliver's case, that was a lost cause before that guy even came onto the scene.
Can we say spectacularly lost that case? I think we can. On Friday, getting ready for the adoption hearing later, Imran tells Toyah that he set Abby up with another lawyer who's agreed to work pro bono. Belter, says Toyah.
Right.
And then Sally says something as well about Bono. Abby and
At least
Imran,
it's not about Bono.
Oof. A Bono boner.
Ew.
Oof.
No.
Yikes.
No.
With bits of chicken in it.
No.
Abby and Imran are back to their trip into town to register the birth.
Why do you do this to me?
She wants him to keep his copy hidden of the birth certificate. He claims that he's going to tell all to Toyah just as soon as this adoption thing is done.
Right.
Which he's not going to do. Then Abby walks by Nina's rolls and Toyah comes out, spilling her coffee all over her. Toyah bends down to pick up Abby's stuff, including the birth certificate envelope, and Abby freaks out. Keep your fucking mitts to yourself. Abby leaves and Kev turns up asking what that was all about. Toyah tells Kev how Abby was dead cagey about her bag, like it was full of coke or skank or the ecstasies.
Yeah, and also, thanks a lot, exposition Toyah, again.
Back at the flat, Abby's drying off the envelope when Kev visits to make sure she's okay and dump off her stuff from the house finally. When Abby goes to make a cuppa, Kev rakes through her bag, finds the envelope, and like a character from a 1960s spy movie, takes a photograph of the birth certificate on microfiche and then runs away. Abby comes out with the coffee and twigs what happened and phones Imran. Funny thing, you know how I was warning you to take care of your copy of the certificate? Well, you're never going to guess what's happened to mine.
In fairness to Abby, she lives alone. She had kind of tucked it behind the couch and also, for some reason, did not suspect that Kev would do something underhanded like rifle through her bag. Mm-hmm. which is such a dick thing for him to do.
It's also a little unbelievable because it feels like there's no door to the kitchen, so it's kind of open plan.
Right.
So when Abby goes in to put the kettle on,
Right. Does she not
does
hear
she
the
not turn
rifling?
round
And also, Toyah indicates to Kev that there might be something sketchy in her bag, like
in
drugs.
an envelope,
Like drugs.
in a manila envelope.
Right. It's like, well, if you don't see drugs there, Kev, I think you're good to just leave that alone and not touch it ever again.
Right.
You asshole. You utter shit excuse for a human being.
Oh, he's awful.
I hated him already. I was already never team Kev for anything with anyone. He is such an awful, disgusting, misogynistic twat.
He's a terrible man.
He's a horrible man.
He gets into her flat through false pretenses.
Right, yeah.
Gets rid of her.
Right.
Sit and bring me back some fucking biscuits.
Right, yeah.
And then,
Make me a brew woman, even though you're not my woman
so
anymore.
in her home,
Yeah,
rifles through her bag,
right.
opens up an envelope that's not addressed to him,
No.
takes the contents out,
And then takes a
photographs
picture
it.
of it.
Oh my God, what's he doing?
So evil. So evil. It's not
for-
even
for
any of
what?
his fucking business
None of his
anymore.
business. He's-
They're not together anymore. Why is this his? And he already knows the kid's not his. Why does he care?
I've no idea.
He's such a shitbag.
That's
I
the
just
word that I
want to
used.
kick
Yep.
him to the moon.
Ooh.
What an utter cunt, and not the good kind.
Another option here, and
Hate him.
Imran is being charming while they wait on Toyah. She comes in all apologetic.
A little too charming.
She's she's
He's
putting on
just
too
a
thick.
little manic there, isn't he?
She's clearly in the mood as the interview starts, so Imran is laying it on thick. The interviewer asks why they would make good parents. Toyah says simply that they love her, Elsie, and would not the interviewer. Toyah says, I love you, interviewer. No, I love you, Elsie. And they would do anything for her. They just want her to be happy. Cracking answer, babe, says Imran. And the interviewer is so enamoured with Imran. It's
Right.
unbelievable.
Well, who wouldn't
laughing
be?
at all these jokes. And,
Look at him. He's
right,
adorable.
touching herself. So,
That's for later.
okay then. So what are your worst qualities, asks the interviewer coyly. Well, he's a fucking liar, says Toyah, and goes on to explain how Imran was registering the birth of his secret son that he had with a vulnerable drug addict who's grieving for her murdered son. This is not a good look. She explains how Kev sent her a photo of the birth certificate.
Yeah,
Good
because
job,
he
Kev.
wasn't shitty enough. He had to go and send it to Toyah.
Correct.
Not thinking about Toya's feelings at all. You know, just wanting to shit on Abby some more because he is a shitty human being.
I think you've made that point.
I hate him so much.
Sorry
Death
about
to
that.
Kev.
Sorry about that, says Imran.
Why can't a roof collapse on him?
Oh, sorry about that, says Imran. No, he doesn't say that. Oh, I'm so sorry. Yeah, I'm sorry about that. Anyway, Toyah says she was telling the truth that she loves Elsie, but she can't do that with Imran because the risk of him hurting her is now too much. I'll leave it to you, says the interviewer and gets up and leaves.
Yeah, she's like, this room is not booked for the rest of the day, so you two sit and talk amongst yourselves.
I'm just going to tell my colleagues all about this. Toyah starts joining the dots and then maybe footeroo myself a wee bit. Imran says it was an accident and it just happened, but then admits that he booked a room at the Rape Hotel after Abby and him had agreed to get their hold. So it didn't just happen then,
Right,
says Toyah.
yeah. It
An
was-
important point.
It was good. I liked the fact that Toyah goes through the steps. So
She's total therapist during this.
So you met her, you know, you didn't know she was going to be there, and you saw her, and you made a conscious decision to get a room with her. You didn't have the room before you met her.
Yeah, at all the points when you were speaking to the receptionist, you didn't decide
Yeah,
not to do
there was
this.
not a second that you thought,
Right.
maybe this isn't the right thing to do. At least Carla already had that room.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
He also reveals that he got his knob checked out afterwards before he got his haul with Toyah again.
Right.
And this doesn't do much to calm
Because
Toyah.
he didn't have a condom on him.
Imran thought that Abby was on the pill.
Right.
Imran just wants to go home and sort this out. Toyah doesn't think he's capable of telling the truth, suggests that he loves the manipulation. He admits to paying the lawyer because at the end of the day, it's his son.
Right.
And that's why we can't be together, says Toyah. And that's why we can't adopt Elsie, because all you ever think about is protecting yourself.
Which is unfair to poor Alfie, isn't it? a little, because she makes a comment to Leanne later on about how, you know, he had a plan B all this time, you know.
Yeah, I
so
don't think it was quite that much, but I understand why she would think that.
Yeah, I think I felt like that was the only unfair thing that she ever says about this whole situation.
She's allowed. I think she's allowed to be unfair about something here. The way that she's been treated is ridiculous.
Right.
So Toyah goes to speak
What?
to Leanne.
A woman has been treated poorly
I know,
in
who'd have
Coronation Street?
We've marked
That
the date and
never
time.
happens.
Toyah goes to speak to Leanne, explaining that even after all this, there's a bit of her that still wishes that she'd kept her mouth shut. Leanne assures her that she did the right thing. And look where that's got me, says Toyah. She's lost everything. Abby finds Imran in the pub and he catches her up. Abby wonders if sleeping with her is worse for Toyah than sleeping with a random. And it is. In comes Kev, who seems oddly more pissed that Imran is a dad rather than Tez. I wonder why that would be.
Maybe because Imran is incredibly handsome and Kev looks like he's been sleeping under a bridge for 30 years.
Imran tells Kev that, thanks, ass, you've ruined my life. Kev is unsympathetic. Have a nice life, you pair of twats, he says. Abby tells Kev that she loves him, but this is how she treats people she loves. And Kev, remarkably, looks like part of him wants to take her back after all of this, but he tells her that he can't. He needs to take care of himself and Jack first, which I think is kind of laying the groundwork for Abby and him getting back together again.
I hope they don't, because he's so bad. No woman should ever subject themselves to Kev.
Imran gets
ever.
home, surprised to see Elsie's still up. It was 10 o'clock. I checked the clock in their kitchen. It was 10 o'clock when he gets home. Elsie's still up. Toyah explains that she was waiting for him, so he takes her to her room and reads her a story about princes and princesses that Toyah can overhear from the living room as she breaks down and cries. And that is how we end this week's episodes.
And Toyah makes a speech about, you know, buying this princess castle after being so, you know, not wanting to give in to gender stereotypes, and that yet she herself is a gender stereotype, the wronged woman, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah, very good. The pink castle. The pink princess castle.
It's purple, isn't
Well,
it?
she called it pink, and
Did
it was
she?
pink. So, yeah, there is that.
Maybe it's because I was watching this episode on my laptop, because BritBox still hasn't dropped this episode.
It really hasn't.
What the hell, BritBox? What's
So-
going on, BritBox? If that is your real name.
Do you know when last year, when it came out that we discovered that Imran hadn't slept with Sabine after all, and we thought, well, maybe he hasn't done anything, but obviously he has, and he'd slept with Abby. At that point, I was really disappointed because I thought, this is ruining this relationship that we enjoy. I really like the two of them together. It's a bit of a relationship that's come out of a misunderstanding, because remember, Imran was being a shit and shagging Leanne as well. And yeah, I was genuinely standing for the pair of them. I really liked the two of them together. But I think I'm so disappointed in Imran
Right.
for so many weeks now, that I think the build up to this and the execution of it. In a week, remember, where we have Gary and the Laura stuff, which you would normally think is that's going to be the high bit of drama for the week. To have this and Toyah finding out this week, and Toyah's reaction to it, she was so good when she was laying down the law, and she was going through all the dots in the storyline and adding it all together and asking what he thought at this point. And there's no good answer to any of it. And Imran takes credit after a little bit of coaxing, is truthful to her finally.
Yeah.
But she is so good at breaking him down and breaking the relationship down, and her anger is so palpable and
righteous.
Right. And it was great. And I loved the juxtaposition of that against when she's allowed to speak frankly and truthfully to Leanne about how she's feeling. And there's part of her that kind of regrets what she's done. I love that side of it as well, because it's like the way that your head kind of works after an argument, and you're thinking about, you know, maybe there was a better way of handling this, and just her, the contrast of those two sides of it, I thought were done superbly well.
Yeah. You know, when it comes to Imran,
Yes.
and I mean, part of the appeal of Imran is that Charlie DeMello is
A lovely man, yeah.
genuinely one of the greatest guys on the planet. You know, with the dogs and the pride parades and being an ally and just a fantastic human being.
Yes.
It's interesting because I was having a conversation with a friend of mine last night. We were talking about certain celebrities who have fallen from grace, and how some people you just automatically, yes, those are obviously, even before we found out that they were bad people, you kind of knew that they were bad people. But there are other celebrities who are so very beloved that when it comes out that they are actually bad people, there's a part of you that struggles against it because they have been beloved to you for so long.
Right.
And that's kind of how I feel. Obviously not about Charlie, because he is still a good person.
Yes.
But this is the struggle with...
Phew. I was wondering if you were going with that.
This is a struggle with Imran, because for so long he's been one of the very few genuinely good guys on the street who hasn't... Name one other character that with a penis who hasn't exhibited some form of toxic masculinity in the time that we've been doing the show.
He did a little bit when he was playing with Leanne and Toyah together.
See, I don't remember that. When did that happen?
Remember, he was standing in his pants in the flat. That was just after that happened, where he ended up...
Well, he's standing...
Were you watching it at that point? Maybe you
Nick
weren't
was
watching
standing in his pants right next to him, though.
Yeah, so that was after this, obviously. But
Right,
no,
so that wasn't...
he was shagging Leanne and Toyah
This
together.
This has to... No, I don't remember this at all.
Yeah.
I don't remember him shagging Leanne ever.
And the two of them confronted them in the bistro and pretended that they were both interested in a little throuple together.
See, I don't remember any of this. But anyway, it's just... So...
It was played for laughs more than anything else.
Right. I'm sure. But there's... He's always been kind of... And even people that, for the time that I've been watching the show, like Roy.
Right.
Roy is the antithesis of toxic masculinity at this point, but there is a past. He's had his moments well before I started watching the show.
Oh, yeah. Like 20 years ago.
Right. So that
More
doesn't...
than that.
So that, for me, that kind of doesn't even count anymore.
Right.
So there's this loss that I feel... that I have felt since he slept with Abby.
Yes, and
that's when it began.
That's exactly
where
what
it's
was
like, I can't accept that this is something that actually happened. There must be a mistake. They must have just, both passed out in the same bed, and it didn't really happen.
Right. It was like when Radiohead released Kid A. You're like, no, they haven't. Right? It's like that.
I quite like Kid A. Anyway, so it's... And remember, he did try to tell Toyah before at the hospital, and Abby cut him off and said something about, he's here to help. He's been given many, many, many opportunities, but I guess my point is that it's just you feel this loss of respect for a character on a television show that is a fictitious person and that is played by a genuinely upstanding human being.
Yep.
And I think that's one of the things that the show has done really well. It kind of sucks because now there's none left.
Right.
But it's also because even in the whole Adam thing, Imran was really upstanding and no, we have to do this, and Adam, don't do that. And was taking the moral high ground,
Protect the business,
and reminding Adam about racism and stuff.
Right.
Which I'm kind of surprised that hasn't reared its head in this storyline quite yet. I don't know if that's kind of what you were hinting at when about Kev being even angrier that it was Imran.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was hinting at. Yeah.
Yeah. And not just the handsomeness.
It's just why does it matter to Kev that it's Imran?
Yeah,
and
you'd
not
think that
Tez?
he would be relieved that it wasn't Tez and that it was definitely a one-night thing and it wasn't something that maybe means Abby still has a candle for her ex.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But
It would be
I think
interesting if that is the case, that we find that Kev is just...
Because I don't know that Kev's deep enough to think that it's all about looks. Because I think he probably reckons that he's a bit of a looker himself. Because did you see him on his wedding day? That man washed. Allegedly. No, I know exactly what you mean about the kind of disappointment. I guess my further disappointment is that I'm not sure that I believe I'm not sure that I believe that Imran would do it.
Right.
He lost a case that meant an awful lot to him. But every day lawyers lose cases that mean an awful lot to them.
Well, let's remember, he lost a case that meant an awful lot to him, and he was also emotionally invested as a father to Kelly.
Yeah, but that should never have been allowed to happen.
And it kind of the thing that kind of weakens that is the fact that once they got Elsie, you know, they didn't want to kick Kelly to the curb, but Kelly kicked herself to the curb, and not once has either one of them, you know, checked in on Kelly.
Imran did speak to her in the street, and that's as far as it's going.
Right, and that wasn't recent. That wasn't, oh, I heard your mom's dying. Are you okay? Do you need anything from us? They seem to have fully dumped the Kelly stuff onto Gary and Maria.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, she's taken care of now, so now we don't have to worry about her and we can focus on Elsie.
Right, this thing that was so important to me that it, in inverted commas, forced me to sleep with another woman isn't important to me anymore. That's how important it was. It's not important anymore.
And also, let's remember that he was trying to save Kelly as kind of a stand-in for Rana, who he couldn't save.
Right.
Which also, does that really work?
I think I'm so tempted to say that it would bring him and Toyah closer together rather than push him away from her. Because that's what it kind of wanted to do to Toyah. Toyah wanted to, and God bless her, she's been trying to be there for him and support him and insist on her team and giving him chances. His mistake was, obviously, Abby, because she's poison and she destroys everybody that comes into contact with her.
Because she's a woman.
But if you are at the point where you're admitting your infidelity to your partner who has given you this chance, why wouldn't you just come entirely clean there at that point and say that it was Abby?
Yeah.
Because at that point, after that, then the pregnancy is going to sting.
Right.
But
it's not going to be unexpected.
Because this was salvageable. If Imran had been entirely honest and told Toyah everything which she asked him to do, and he promised that he had, I think they'd have got through it.
Or if Abby had been completely honest with Kev, or had just never married Kev in the first place and just gotten out of this terrible relationship.
Right.
But, God, it's like she doesn't know what's good for her because she's a woman. But
and she's a poisonous destroyer of men.
Yes.
Well, and everybody really.
Right, and children.
Right, men and children.
And sometimes other women. But yeah, this could have been avoided so thoroughly if just somebody had been honest before now.
How many times do we say that?
I mean, it wouldn't be a soap opera if people were honest.
No, it wouldn't. But
well, maybe. I don't know. But you know, it's also awful because Imran finally does the right thing. It's the right thing to do to put his name on that birth certificate and to claim this child.
Right.
It kind of sucks that the thing that forces him to do it is Abby saying, no, you can't see this kid because you've shoved me off onto another lawyer.
Right. And you say it's the right thing, and I think it probably is, but because it's done as a reaction to that, it's almost an act of aggression on his part.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. That's true. That's very true.
Did we ever get any closure on whether he's leaving the show?
No. That kind of just died down, so obviously he's not leaving the show.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I think if he's leaving, I think Abby's leaving. I don't think Abby's leaving.
No, because they
there's
need
other
to
men,
torture her some more.
And there's other men that she needs to destroy first.
Right, and children.
And
like I
children,
said,
and
she
pets.
hasn't poisoned the lives of the quads yet.
And pets.
Or Ruby.
Or Peanut. Although Peanut did shitting. No, that didn't happen. I just made that up. Oh, well.
Yeah. But, you know, again, you know, high praise for Mikey North for killing it. Georgia Taylor also just killing it with that scene.
Yeah, and they mostly got the whole of Friday for that. There was very little else that went on Friday. And it felt that the build up to it and the time that she was given for her outrage was great. This isn't dealt with in a minute. You know, this was over a number of long scenes, right?
They gave her room and they gave her space. Just like on Monday, they really gave the Laura the Chin and Rick the Chin storyline a lot, most of the episode, and gave it a lot of space. I think that's one of the things that really makes this new formatting work. I think it really helps to have one complete episode without a break for storylines like this, where you're just really emotionally invested in what's going on.
And you break for half an hour and then you come back.
Right, yeah. I think it's much better this way.
Yeah. I don't know.
I mean, it doesn't affect me very much.
No.
At all.
Or let's say at all, right?
At all, except, of course, for Friday's episode,
That you
where
have to
I
watch
actually
them
had to watch
Commercial breaks.
British commercials for Iron Brew with Italian mobsters for some reason.
One of them played by the guy who was Terry Duckworth, who was Jack and Vera's son in classic Corrie. Anyway, that was the week that was Coronation Street. This is a tough question this week. What was your moment of the week?
Toyah.
More than, I think so.
We gave it to Gary and Laura last week.
I think both of them were better this week.
Right.
But I still think it's
Toyah
and Imran.
Tearing Imran a new asshole was just poetry.
It was really well done. And
she goes through so many emotions.
She does.
Because she's angry at him, and she's grieving for Elsie, and grieving for the relationship. There's just so many levels to what she's going through.
Yeah.
And they gave her so much space to just do it. And she did it so well.
Imran's fucking brass neck going home as well after that. Jeez. Anyway, Toyah's reaction to learning the truth about Alfie is our
Moment of the week.
Your boredom moment of the week.
Nick going through Sam's journal.
That was just appalling. That wasn't boring. Was it?
Well,
I'm tempted to go to cock again.
She's just as bad as Kev.
Oh, do you know what? It's no.
No, but you know what? No. It's not.
It is.
It's not.
Fucking giggles.
It's Summer and French. Summer and French. Summer and Billy talking about French conversions.
L'été? Summer in French? Hiver is winter.
Because this is just a storyline that we've seen over and over and over again. It's the definition of boring.
The week.
We've hit the button. That seals it. Well, that's how you do a 200th episode of this.
Woot woot! We're going to go and shag now. After Gav's done editing all of this, of course.
Sure.
I'm going to go and pick up my nurse's uniform from the Amazon pickup station at the Whole Foods and make a night of it. I also got you one of those little ball sack hangy things that she got Tim. Remember that thing?
If you want to send help, we're the talk of the street at gmail.com, and we're at Corrie Podcast on Twitter, Facebook and Instagram. You can shout me. Do we do Instagram still?
Have we?
I never do it.
We should, but we don't.
You can shout me and Helen a coffee by heading to ko-fi.com/talk of the street. Check out the clicky section of vogle.co.uk for links to our merch store and YouTube channel. And if you're so inclined, please leave a rating and a review on the iTunes or your podcast provider of choice.
Yes.
Thanks for making it to the end of another episode. And we will be back next week with more
Talk of the street.
The Talk of the Street.
Goodbye.
Cheerio.